I don't care what they tell you in school. Cleopatra was black.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Hello everyone, Jason Alea back here again, and today we're going to be talking about a show called Queen Cleopatra. This is a Netflix docudrama about Cleopatra, and it is getting demolished everywhere. Nobody likes this show, and mainly it's all due to the fact that the documentary does not really give factual information about the queen herself. Instead, the people who are talking about Cleopatra in the show give mostly just ideas or who they think Cleopatra looked like in their own head, despite there being a whole lot of evidence to show that Cleopatra did look a certain way and was a certain way. No, ignore all the factual evidence from real scientists and historians. No, we need to search our own feelings to know what Cleopatra looked like, because that is how we learn history, baby. Oh my god, this sounds so fucking stupid. And nobody likes that, but mostly Egypt, as they rightfully claim that Cleopatra was Macedonian, is of Greek descent, and was light-skinned. She was never black. There are busts, there are paintings, there's art of her, faces in coins, you name it. She's known to look a certain way, and how the show depicts her wasn't it. Now, I will admit I have not seen the show myself, and I don't plan to, because quite obviously, just from the poster alone, this is definitely not what Cleopatra looked like. And now, the entire country of Egypt is, or at least a lawyer for Egypt itself, is suing Netflix over the show, and the lawyer named Mahmoud Al-Samari, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, sir. He filed a case with the public prosecutor to shut down the Netflix platform in Egypt following the trailer release of Queen Cleopatra, a new documentary depicting a historical figure as a black woman. He demanded a thorough investigation of the process as well as the overall discontinuity of Netflix's streaming service in Egypt as a consequence. He blamed Netflix management team for its participation in this crime. I could understand this, because they're basically rewriting their very own history. And I could understand why the entire country of Egypt will be so mad about this, because it's good to have representation. But when you're doing a documentary that is of another culture and country, it's cool to have an actual accurate depiction of. You want to do that. You want to give accurate representation. But doing representation in this way, where you're basically dismissing their own history and changing it for your own ways, to me, that sounds kind of racist, and that you really don't care about the people of that country or their history. It tells me that you are basically just wanting to do a self-insert of sorts of what you want for Egypt to be. And that is just all the way wrong. And I'm not the only one alone on this. But the cast and crew members just have to make this worse. And now the director speaks out about why it bothers you so much about Black Cleopatra, and she goes on to say,
I remember as a kid seeing Elizabeth Taylor play Cleopatra. I was captivated, but even then, I felt the image was not right. Was her skin really that white? With this new production, I could find the answers about Cleopatra's heritage and release her from the stranglehold that Hollywood had placed her in.
Why shouldn't Cleopatra be a melanated sister? And why do some people need Cleopatra to be white? Proximity to whiteness seems to give her value. For some Egyptians, it seems to really matter. Well, of course it does, because she was Macedonian. She was never black.
After much hand-wringing and countless auditions, we found in Adele James an actor who could convey not only Cleopatra's beauty, but also her strength. What the historians can confirm is that it's more likely that Cleopatra looked like Adele than Elizabeth.
And the actress, what was her name? Adele James. She also spoke about the casting and gave quite possibly the worst statement you could ever think of. It would be naive of me to say that I didn't expect anything at all, but I didn't expect the scale of it. You should have. You're basically rewriting the entire history of a culture. Well, not the entire history of a culture, but a very important history of another country's culture, about one of their most famous leaders that even is known throughout the entire world. What did you expect? And I think it's distressing for anyone to receive any level of abuse. Well, abuse is definitely not good. But I don't think they're abusing you, I think they're just roasting the hell out of you. Let alone the scale of the nature of what I received, which is fundamentally racist, all of it. And you pulled out the racist card on the country that you are making the series about. You're criticizing them for criticizing your own show about their own culture. No wonder why nobody likes this show. It seemed like everyone involved in this entire show are absolute terrible, entitled people and individuals that basically just wanted to do a self-insert of what they believe Cleopatra was. People are talking about the wrong things, she continued. Yes, we don't know where her mother was from or her parental grandmother. Why didn't you guys just ask the historians? I mean, I don't know much about Cleopatra myself, but you could ask actual historians who might know the questions, or at least something close to that question, and they might give you as close of an answer as you could get. Go to the freaking Smithsonian. Everyone knows what the Smithsonian is. They probably know something. If you watch it, it's a very small part of the conversation, really. This is about the fullness of whom this woman was, and she was a human being, and she shouldn't be reduced to her race any more than I should or anybody should. The thing is, though, you are making a documentary. You are doing a series that's supposed to be historically factual. You aren't making some historical fiction like Titanic, where it is a real event that happened, but most of the characters there are basically made up. No, you're talking about a real individual, and you need to be accurate to that if you're doing a documentary. I mean, something like Walking with Dinosaurs gets a pass for me, because even though that does have some questionable decisions at the time, is based on prehistoric findings that at the time were what we thought of dinosaurs. It wasn't until much later throughout the years and decade that we know dinosaurs don't look like what they did in that show. But that's because that show is a documentary for the time we know about dinosaurs. And something like Prehistoric Planet, which was made pretty much like a year ago, I believe. That's of findings that we know of now. Walking with Dinosaurs is about findings that they know of back then. It's kind of like a good little pin to point to know when we think of dinosaurs throughout a timeline. And to me, I still enjoy the show for that reason, to understand how people understood these creatures back then compared to what we know now. It's like a good thing to discover. So something like that gets a pass. This, we know, a lot of historians know a lot more about Cleopatra and have very accurate findings of her to know what she looked like and who she was, including the fact that the entire nation of Europe is still there. Not Europe, I mean Egypt is still there. So I'm pretty sure the leaders themselves there should have some sort of knowledge about their own previous leaders. So to me, this documentary just seems all the way wrong. It feels like it should have never been made. It angered the very country it was trying to tell a story about, as well as being an historically inaccurate depiction of that country that nobody's going to watch because they know that they're not going to give any sort of truth out of it. The cast members and people involved in the making of this show seem to not care and seem pretty entitled and selfish. This really does sound like a disaster in the making, and I have no idea how Netflix was able to greenlight this. I don't think this ever should have been made, really. Like, I'm all for creative freedom sometimes, but to me there's also a limit as to what your ideas could be. This was a terrible idea. I don't know how this got through the process of making this show, but this is Netflix. They tend to give money to literally anything. I mean, they made that pedophilia movie a couple of years back, and there's also this Anne Boleyn show that race swapped the actual woman herself when she was clearly white. So I am more understandable to race swapping in fiction, but when it's actual historical people, that's when I have a problem. That's when, I would get angry if someone changed Martin Luther King Jr. to white, or if Muhammad Ali was Asian, or if George Washington was Colombian, because these people looked a certain way. We have paintings, we have artwork, we have pictures of what they looked like. Go off that and try to choose someone who's able to act well but also look enough like that person, or at least enough for you to put makeup around them to make them look like that person, so that you're able to give a pretty accurate depiction of that movie about Cleopatra that Gal Gadot was supposed to do. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but Gal Gadot was supposed to do a movie about Cleopatra, and I think that could have been much better. She wasn't Gal Gadot is not Egyptian, but she looks enough like the woman to basically you could say that it's a fictionalized kind of thing where you know that the actress is not really Egyptian, but she's just acting out the part, and she looks enough the part. No, they just brought in someone that's completely unidentical. And that to me just feels wrong. I'm not going to watch this show. I'm not going to give any of my time. There are better people out there that are able to talk about it more in depth. I just want to talk about this show a little bit because it's getting roasted so much online. Everybody seems to absolutely hate this. This is just something that I just want to talk about and give my feelings across. And I think that they should have done something a whole lot more accurate to who the person was in real life. They should not have race swapped Cleopatra and then call the entire country of Europe racist. That's not how things should have been. If you want representation, do it right. Don't insult another country that doesn't get as much representation in modern Hollywood today just to fit a certain narrative that you want. If you want representation, that's good. I'm all for it. But do it right. Don't do it in an insulting way that basically unites people to hate on something. That is not how representation should be. It should be something positive that everyone in the world can enjoy and get along with. And this show just did the complete opposite and just made everyone mad with it. I hope the Egyptian lawyer gets the case through and wins, because Netflix deserves it. Europe doesn't deserve Netflix, really, and I hope that with this kind of response that Hollywood would stop race swapping real life people, and I hope that they don't do this as like a trend. If they do, it'll be like Ghostbusters, where they try to insert female characters that don't belong in stories, where in a way that is basically demonizing towards men, and try to make them feel like perfect characters. I mean, why can't we have like actual good female characters like Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor and Wonder Woman? No. You have to basically make them completely perfect and nobody could criticize them, and it's all the sexists who are out there criticizing everything. No. You just wrote bad characters. We do want good female characters. We just want them written well and have them feel like actual characters. I mean, okay, that's like another topic, but you understand what I'm saying. If you want representation, you gotta do it right. We need to call out when creators are doing representation in the wrong way. And we need to let them know that we don't want this. We need to let them know that we want it to be done right and accurately. So please, and I know I haven't watched this show, but everything behind the scenes already made me make my decision to not watch it. And I would recommend it to you guys to not give this show a chance, and show Netflix that they need to like change their game, and they gotta stop giving literally every single creator money to do everything. You gotta know when to say no, guys. I mean, you gave me great shows like Stranger Things and Arcane, but then you give me Cuties, The Kissing Booth, and now this. You guys gotta, at some point, stop saying yes, 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 yes. Okay? You need to learn when to say no. I feel like even I can go to Netflix, talk about a movie about a butthole going on a vacation with a penis, and I feel like Netflix would say yes to that. It sounds really, really stupid, but I feel like if I pitched that, I would get like $1 million at least, and I'm able to make that into something. It's incredible. It's really incredible how we are at this point in movie making and TV show making that somebody could literally say yes to the absolute worst idea you could possibly have. But that's where we are. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is kind of me just wanting to vent my frustrations out with Netflix, and just to let my feelings be heard about this, because I'm someone who's trying to get into the film industry, but I do feel like there needs to be certain ways to do things, and the way this show goes about depicting its topic was just wrong. So I just wanted to let my feelings out there, let you guys know how I feel about this. There's a lot more people out there who basically know a whole lot more than I do about this, so I would try to find, if you want more accurate and more in-depth thoughts about this, I would probably look for other videos. This is just me just wanting to get my frustrations out, and I don't feel like I'm the only one. In fact, Egypt is doing that wholeheartedly. Other people who are fans of documentaries are doing this. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I hope you guys are enjoying your day. I hope you guys are doing alright. Hope you enjoyed the video. And soon I'll get back to doing my usual stuff, reactions, comics. My movie reviews will be on my second channel from now on. And I'll see you guys next time.